When you think of college, you probably think of freedom. You might even think of the time of your life, the parties, the sororities, the fraternities, and a little time away from mom and dad, right? But in that, you're also probably thinking about the salary that's waiting for you once you obtain your degree. But you're also probably thinking of student loans. Did you know the average public university student, according to Education Data Initiative, borrows just below 33 grand to obtain a bachelor's degree? Student loan debt in the US, according to Education Data Initiative, totals $1.745 trillion. We have no other choice, right? We have no other option. Tuition is skyrocketing and is continuously on the rise. And now we're left with no other choice but to take out student loans for our education. Wrong. That's not true. I know. I promise you, when I heard this for the first time, I thought the woman was absolutely crazy. But the reality is, you can go to school debt-free, and you should try with every fiber of your being to do so. Whether you're rich, you're poor, you live with your parents, you grew up with your grandparents, whatever your situation is, I want to encourage you that you can do this. Now, I'm going to give you 3 simple steps. They're simple in terms of remembering, but they're not always simple in terms of applying, so you can achieve a debt-free degree. The first one, scholarships and grants. This probably rings a bell. They probably sound familiar. And if you're like me, you might be thinking, well, scholarships, those are for people who are super smart. No, it's not true. If you hop on the internet, there's so many scholarships available for everyone. And I mean everyone. Grants are the same thing. Scholarships and grants, these are awarded to you. They're not anything you have to pay back, and you can use them to apply to your education and pay for it. Just think of it. If you sat down and you spent 2 hours applying for scholarships, and in the end you earned a $1,000 scholarship, or in total you earned $1,000 in scholarships, that's $500 an hour. That's better than any part-time job that I'm aware of. So apply for them. They're there. People want to help. It's up to you to have the discipline to go and apply for them. The second thing is live below your means / get a job. I know this seems obvious, but I would argue it's the most impactful step. So how you can do this is, if you're looking at a school and you're thinking, oh, this big school, it's such a great school, everyone knows about it, but you look at that tuition and you can't afford it, don't go. If you're looking at the beautiful dorms and the apartment complexes and the sororities and the fraternities and you're like, oh my gosh, but you look at that bill and you can't afford it, don't go. It's as simple as that. And I know that's not the most easiest thing to hear, but this is crucial in achieving a debt-free degree. Now, if you can afford it, go for it. But if you can't, don't. Live at home if you can. If you're not in the stage of life where you're living at home and you're living on your own, see how you can cut back on some of your bills and your lifestyle. This is so important. And like I said, get a job. Get a job. And if you have a job and it doesn't pay you a lot, get a better paying job. UC San Diego reported that students who work up to 30 hours a week do just as well and even better academically than those who don't. Now, the last thing I want to say is budget. I know this may sound kind of nerdy and like you might think you're over and above budgeting, but you guys, budgeting is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. If you mindlessly go into the bank and you sign the loan, I'm going to tell you now that you are mindlessly not going to get out of that debt very quickly, if at all. So right now, make the decision. I am going to pay for my school. I'm going to apply for scholarships. Student loans are not an option. is start telling your money now where it's going to go. It's not to say you can't go out with your friends, but maybe you don't need to go out with your friends Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every week. Maybe you have Friday nights are your nights, so you budget for that. You can still have a life on a budget. And I want to say, I'm doing this. I'm in the process of going to school debt-free. It hasn't been easy. It's required me to be disciplined, and it's required me to be it's required sacrifices on my end. But this is how I look at it. 3 years of discipline and hard work, or years of frustration because I have this monthly bill that comes to my door. I made the decision now, but now it's up to you. What decision will you make?